Hey everyone, it's Susan Rose here, and I'm super excited. Today I'm with my friend Dana Magnus, who is also a content marketing person. And so the other day we were chit-chatting and decided that it would be a good conversation to put onto tape. So we're going to do that today in a few short minutes. Dana, I cannot even talk, it's too early in the morning. Please introduce yourself.
Sure. So hello, everyone. My name is Dana Magnus. I own the marketing brand, and my consulting agency is Dana L. Magnus Limited. I was a photographer for 10 years and studied marketing in tandem, and lo and behold, the two kind of merged together as content marketing, storytelling, visual, and, just regular marketing content to put out your best foot forward as an individual, as an influencer, and most importantly, as a movement leader.
Yes, very cool. And it's interesting, our paths have been very similar, only I started out as a writer. So as a journalist and a writer, magazine editor, but also getting into the marketing and the same things. How do you tell your story? How do you convey your brand through the written word? I think that the visuals and the written or go hand in hand, and both are important. So that's what Dana and I actually want to talk about today, because both of us are hearing from our clients that marketing right now and being really visible and being out there is feeling kind of pushy and kind of sleazy, and that maybe it's not the best thing to do during the pandemic. Like maybe somehow we need to be completely changing what we're doing. So we thought we would just offer our opinions on that. Dana,
Yeah.
would you like to offer your opinion on that?
Yeah. And I mean, it's definitely an opinion, but for me, I stand with the ground on. The ground I stand on is really about, service. And as a mission-driven marketer focused on making that impact from the beginning, which is that first public layer, the outer layer of your communications, is your online presence. And so if you just decide that during this global pandemic, you're just going to freeze up, not have any kind of voice, not have any sort of mode of communication because you don't think it's appropriate, or you don't think it is going to be something that you don't think it's going to be something that's like helpful. You think it's more hurtful. I think that it's time to just kind of re-question, what is my marketing strategy? Am I selling or leading with empathy, with a bigger mission, with a motivation, or a kind of focus on serving? Or am I just trying to sell stuff? So that's really where my opinion lies, is that we should not be silent. We should not be paused. We should shift for sure. And we should get more in tuned with what our relatability or common ground is with our target audience, because that has changed. But the idea of not saying anything and staying completely silent should not be there, to encourage everyone.
Right. I totally agree. And that's always been my position. I come from a background in marketing that's called thought leadership, which is all about being of service and helping people solve a problem, really looking at what are people grappling with, what is keeping them awake at night, and how can I help them in the marketing I put out, in the articles or blogs or whatever you're doing. How can I help solve this problem in a way that's going to be of use? That is, in my opinion, how marketing should always work. So it doesn't change because the circumstances change. Like you said, messages might need to shift. How you're doing things, how you're helping people needs to shift. But stepping back and being completely quiet is not going to serve your clients and not going to help them with whatever they're going through. I do think we need to be flexible, though. I mean, people are going through peaks and valleys, and having compassion and understanding that the reactions might be different or something like that. That none of that is a signal to stop what you're doing. It's a signal to listen more carefully and really understand who you're helping, and to do that through the marketing and the messages you put out.
Absolutely. And I think you hit something that really resonated with me, is that, the customer journey and the kind of like that customer initial life cycle of, from going from one point to the next point to move and take action with you. that I think statistically is going to be longer because of the circumstances with things being so uncertain. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not moving in that direction. It just may be taking them a little bit more time. So as you kind of observe this sort of societal behavior and the behavior with your clients and your the journey that they're going on, you may just want to think about that and say, is there extra value I can be giving them over a longer stretch time? So when maybe your campaigns were a little bit more concise and to the point, maybe you got them just moving quicker. I think right now what this pandemic has done is it's put things in a much more, slower, grandiose, but yet still value driving matter. So if you can think about different points of touch points that you can get, I love throwing out this statistic for anyone out there learning and wanting to know more about marketing, that, as little as 10 years ago, it used to take 7 to 13 quality marketing touch points to get a consumer, especially over the $200 mark, to take any kind of action and to, know, like, and trust a brand so they can go ahead and open their wallets. And now today, in the age of technology, with our just over amount of research and finding and brand value that we can be driving, customers are now seeking and almost expecting close to 33 touch points. So I'm sure with the global pandemic, and that was in, before this all hit. So now it's probably closer to even 40 or even 50 touch points. So give yourself some grace that things do take time, that leading a client through their journey to get to know you and trust you, but also to kind of feel okay to be spending money and taking action and stimulating the economy right now. It's not like it's not going to happen. It's just going to take a little bit longer.
Right. And I want to come back. There's some two things in there that I love. I want to circle back to the discussion about what a touch point is. But first, I want to throw in a stat that I like to use with people a lot. And I love your number of the touch points. I hadn't seen that more recent data. So I'm definitely going to be taking that and using it. But another thing that might have changed by now, I haven't seen the most recent research, but as of last year when the Content Marketing Institute did their big study, when people are in that buyer's journey and they're making their decision, 60% of them are going to make that choice about whether you're somebody they want to work with while they're in that research phase, while they're going through those points, while they're reading what you're putting out there or interacting with you. This is before they talk to you, or before they, if you have a model where you do sales calls before they pick up that phone, or if you have a model where you're doing an online purchase, they're going to be doing a lot of research and they're going to make that decision before they get to that point. So again, you need to be there and you need to be providing that value because you want to be part of that conversation when they've got a problem, they're looking for a solution and they're saying, okay, who can help me with this? You want to be in that mix.
Yeah,
they're looking
absolutely.
at who can help them. And the way you're going to do that is through the content marketing, which takes us back to what is a touch point, because there's different, there's a whole host of things that this might be. I think sometimes people say, oh, a touch point 33, that means I have to send 33 emails to them. And that's not what a touch point is. The point at which you're touching them.
Right. Yeah. And I think like when people underestimate the power of consistency, like your website is definitely a major touch point. It's what they go to really validate who you are. I know I scroll all the way to the bottom of almost every website before making a consumer product, a purchase that I'm going to make, and make sure that I see the little B Corporation logo. That's important to me. So if I don't see anything about sustainability or their mission to, support fair trade and things like that, it's going to be really, really, really hard for me to, knowing my values and how I shop, it's going to be really hard for me to do that. So if you think, okay, what is important to my customer? What is important to them? What is their values? What is their mission that they're on personally, that my brand can match up with them on, and how can I push that to the forefront so that gets to their hearts a little quicker? Because that is what I do in mission-driven marketing, content marketing derived around your mission and your highest values, your energy as a leader. I think it's important to kind of put that stuff up higher as priorities. So in your, I mean, I'll name off a few that some people might not even think is that important, but like if you're on Instagram or LinkedIn, like your bio or your just one liner subject line, that could tell a lot about you on what you put in there. Obviously, if you're not on Google My Business, I mean, Google searches and just putting your products in there, putting your some blog posts in there, putting some just updates and keeping that listing updated. That's a really good touch point because people always are Googling who they're working with just to get to your website, right? That's another step before. And so when they see not only your website come up, but then also a professional listing, if you're a service-based business, some reviews on there, I mean, that's almost one action they're taking, but they're seeing multiple points where they're in their mind.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And you know, I'm sort of a minimalist when it comes to this stuff. So I try to be as very intentional as possible with the stuff that I do put out there.
Yeah.
So it's not like we just need to fill the internet with as much junk about us, redundant as possible. But it is something that we do want to take in consideration. What is our point in this? What is the whole goal here? So knowing your goals and understanding what you're doing and why you're doing it, not just to check a box and say, oh, well, I got my profile up or I got my post of the day up. You know, that's going to really keep you in this unproductive standstill, and customers aren't really going to know what to do with you if you're just shoveling out billboard like information to them when they're actually more focused on, hey, I just want to get to know the person behind the brand. I want to get to know, you know, what they're about, what they stand for. Is this a good fit for me? So asking yourself a few questions like that before putting anything out there and creating those touch points can really help you also elevate that experience for your clients and your potential customers.
Yeah, and you know, it's all marketing conversations get back to that. Know who you are, know who your client is, know why you're doing what you're doing, and it really does drive everything. It drives every decision from what kind of content you create to where you put it to how often to
Yeah.
what length it is. It's really foundational. So, and it's something to go back to over and
Yeah.
over. You know, I
Oh
reevaluate,
yeah.
you know, every couple of months, to be
I
honest.
was gonna say, it's like,
Not
it's
even a year
not
thing.
abnormal
Yeah.
to just kind of question it almost on a daily. Is like, I heard this really great piece of advice from a coach that I was went to a workshop with in just before we got locked down. But it was like, if you're not manifesting or just putting in your mind, just visualizing, just like, okay, I'm going to wake up today and I'm just going to spend 2 to 5 minutes just thinking of that person, refreshing my brain over and over of who it is that I'm talking to. So throughout the day, while you're going about responding to any kind of comments, engaging with anyone on your online communities, putting out any kind of emails, just everything, it all ties back to that really clear picture of who that person is. Because you would be surprised, every email, even just casual emails that you send out, if you're not on brand and if you're not, kind of really talking to that ideal person, it's a wasted opportunity. It's a wasted touch point that just flies out there, that is not in alignment with who you want to be connected with and who you want to start drawing in closer to you. And I think that over time we get excited. We have that exercise that we do with that ideal target avatar or audience or whatever you want to do. And it's like people don't retouch that for every 6 months. And it's like, okay, what has evolved? What has morphed in 6 months that changed so much that you kind of went off the beaten path now and you're like way over here? And then you wonder why nothing sticks and it's not consistent and people just kind of forget about you because it's all wobbly, in your mindset.
Yeah, and that's, one of the things I'm constantly talking about is pick that one person, pick of your avatar, the favorite
Yeah.
individual, and talk to that person. So,
Yes.
so that gets to the visualizing who they are, or finding a photograph and having that by your office so that it's, you're not talking to everybody, you're talking to a human being. And
Mm-hmm.
trust that if you are talking to this one specific person, it will resonate with others because they'll
Yes.
feel how genuine that conversation is and that it's really you. So, I think that's one of the biggest things is people are afraid of alienating anybody who's not exactly 100% that person. And that's not actually what happens. What actually happens is you draw in more of the people that have qualities or that are like this ideal person that you're speaking to, but that only happens if you are speaking to an individual.
Correct. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. So as usual, Dana, you and I are like going way off topic and talking about a million things. We could do this forever. But I'm
Oh
going
my
to
gosh.
wrap it up because we've been chatting for a while here. And there's more. So if anybody's out there, if you have questions and want to drop them in the comments, we'll both come back in and answer them and maybe do this again if there is a whole lot more that people want from us, because this is fun. But before we do that, Dana, can you tell people how to get a hold of you?
Of course. You can find me at danamagnus.com. I'm on Vimeo, Facebook, and in the community group, Your Ethical Business. So if you search for that community group, that's my group, and we talk about this stuff all the time.
Cool. And you can find me at susanrose.net, and my Facebook community group is Impact Driven Women Entrepreneurs Helping Each Other. So again, we also talk about this kind of thing in my group. I'm also going to drop a link. Well, I'll drop all these links in the comments, but I also have a new course out called Creating Emotional Connections, which actually talks or helps with some of the stuff that Dana and I got into toward the end of this around how do you create that bond in all of your touch points with people. So I will drop the link to that mini course in there as well.
Yay!
Thank you so much for joining me, Dana. This was awesome. And I'm sure
Thank you, Susan.
Bye.